What a year it's been. Probably you're watching the Queen's one, are you now? No, I'm watching this, but you can watch this at any time, whereas the Queen's one, you must watch at 3 o'clock. People will probably talk about this year as having been very painful and stressful. Why? Well, there's been quite a lot of terrorism, hasn't there? There's been Brexit, there's been Trump, there's been a plethora of very sad celebrity deaths, like really proper, intense, mad, global celebrity deaths, hasn't there? Now, like on a sort of, in a way, we do live in our immediate environments, don't we? And more than that, rather than our physical and external environments, we live in our own consciousness, in our own minds. So like the constellation of global events, in a way, are a confection and a fantasy. Unless you personally know David Bowie or personally know Prince, then it's just a feeling that's been inspired. You weren't going to see Prince anyway. Is it that you have some sort of conclusive finality that Prince isn't going to make any more records? And it's conceptual, isn't it? You're dealing with your own interpretation of Prince's death or Bowie's death, and then could that be extrapolated even into politics? Like all these things that have manifested in the news and the way that they've been portrayed and the way that they've been sort of said to represent sort of racism, xenophobia and division. What goes beyond concepts such as racism, xenophobia, division and fear? Well, I think fear is a much more primal resource that's underlying these external phenomena. Like fear and anger. What is it that people are feeling when they go, do you know what, we don't trust you anymore, we want out of Europe? Or do you know what, we're not going to vote for another neoliberal politician, we want someone who's saying real stuff that's recognisable, even if they seem a little bit mad. I mean, can you imagine that people would vote for Brexit or Donald Trump if there were a wider variety of options? And some of those options were, you can work a lot less hours in the day, you'll have more time with your family, you won't feel enslaved by debt, and that your only way to freedom is by consuming, drinking, taking drugs. If that was offered, I think I would take it, wouldn't you? If it's like, you can either vote to be out of Europe and you don't really know what that means yet, or you can stay in Europe and you sort of know what that means, but it doesn't seem to be that good if you're a poor person. Or you can have a completely different life. You can begin to regard your reality entirely differently. And sort of is in a way the return of Christ to earth. I mean, I'm not a Christian, or I wouldn't be a Christian if you could be a Christian and a Muslim and a Jew and a Hindu and all of the other ones simultaneously. But a lot of the religions, I notice they like you just to be one of them, don't they? Like you can't go, I'm all of them, I like all of them, I'm really into them all. That's why I'm smothered in all of their tattoos. I even belong to this crazy religion where you worship Slaven Bilic and Dmitry Payet. But anyway, the idea of sort of like Christ returning to earth and being born, surely it's the idea that you, like the virgin birth, that there are different ways of being born, that you don't have to just be born in a biological sense, you can be born anew. I've witnessed the miracle of childbirth quite recently, and what I saw was someone's consciousness going online. That's what I saw. I saw the struggle of a woman in bringing life into the world, and the pain and the love and the animal and the divine, the screaming and the tearing and the musculature and the blood, but somehow encompassed with something that doesn't quite make sense. Where does the consciousness come from? Where was her consciousness moments before the birth? Where was her consciousness before conception? Where was it? How is it being conceived? Sort of, I suppose, Christ, look at it how you want. I'm no theologian, this will soon become clear, but it seems that the idea of divinity becoming manifest, God becoming manifest, is the simple choice we can make, not to live a life governed by desire and by fear, but to live a life attuned to higher obligations, drives and urges, the altruistic drive, the philanthropic drive, the drive to simply love. If you have a belief that love is a real thing, that love is a thing that all people are capable of, and love is one of the most powerful things that any of us can feel, then there is good reason to feel optimistic this Christmas or this season, because something is coming to an end. We are entering a new time, a new phase. I've took my top off, for God's sake. I've got a candle. There are many, many reasons to be positive, and loads of scary things have happened this year. I mean, for one thing, I watched that TV show, The Crown.
We have a new sovereign, young and a woman.
And now probably will watch the Queen's message because I've been bamboozled into loving monarchy, like some pliant little subject I've become.
Long live Queen Elizabeth.
Really what I'm saying to you is that you have a lot more control over your own consciousness and your own reality than you can imagine. Try experimenting with your own beliefs. Try new ways of looking at the world. I wish you a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. And for that I'm prepared to show you what can only be described as the torso of a man rapidly approaching, if not already in, middle age. Happy Christmas.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you, to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.